We'll make it up to you and start putting out consistent content if you're willing to give us a second chance. But in any case, love goes out to you all.
According to CBS News, 50-year-old stay-at-home husband David Tronis desperately wanted to appear on reality television. In late April of 2018, he managed to secure himself a spot on the show.
Why would you want to do that? Dude, I see like Big Brother in the UK. Like, people are just subjected to absolute psychological torture.
Show Zombie House Flipping, where he would be featured renovating his newly bought house with his then-wife, 39-year-old financial consultant Shanti Cooper. The only problem was that Shanti wasn't nearly as interested in being on TV, so she refused to sign off on the program, which resulted in David beating and then strangling her to death in the early hours of the following morning. He called 911 roughly 12 hours later at 3:51 p.m.
It's not an AI voice. It's not an AI voice. They got the guy back. It's not an AI voice. You can so tell it's not AI. Thank you, Wascore, for the 6 months. Appreciate you.
Okay, listen to me. Can you tell me what your address is?
Police and paramedics soon arrived at the residence where they were met with a hysterical David performing CPR on Shanti in the living room. His immediate explanation was that he found her lying on...
The AI got...
American domestic disagreement.
The AI got better. I mean, if you go in the description, it says the voiceover is from Kazumi. So, it must be him, right? There's no way it's AI.
Conscious in a partially filled bathtub, bleeding from the nose and mouth. He was then taken to the police station as a witness, where they swapped out his blood-stained clothing for a custody suit. He was also given a water, a blanket, and a box of tissues, then taken to room 6, where he was reassured that someone would be right with him to answer his questions, which wasn't entirely true. He was left in there by himself for 4 hours and 9 minutes before he knocked on the door to use the bathroom.
I swear that's like a purpose tactic that they do, right? In the interrogations, they always keep you held in the room for a very, it's always multiple hours. It's not like no one can get to you. I genuinely think they do it to like break you down.
Yes, sir.
Because it's like there's no, I don't know if there's a clock in there. There's no windows.
Sorry about
just disgusting fluorescent light.
you make it to the bathroom.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
It wouldn't take a genius to recognize that David's behavior is already suspicious. Ask yourself if you'd be acting like this in the scenario he's claiming to be in. You find your significant other unresponsive in a bathtub. Then police leave you in a cold room for 4 hours without telling you anything. You might just ask someone, what the hell is going on? Or what the status of your wife is, and you probably wouldn't be all that polite and apologetic for just trying to use the bathroom. He returns from the bathroom and sits...
Interrogation would never work on me. I just talk to all the friends in my head for hours on end. Okay. That might work. It might get you out of jail. You might get sent to the funny farm, though.
It's there for another 3 minutes. The detectives will now enter the room to commence the interrogation. The time is 9:08 p.m.
Sir,
Hey.
I'm Detective Sprague. Can I get your first name?
First name is David.
David? Okay. We're gonna grab another chair.
Pyro, please, 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 just
I
do
was
it.
just asking for a bottle of water.
Okay, we can grab you.
Thank you.
Have you been to the restroom?
I just want.
You just want... Okay, how about anything else? Anything else?
I'm starving, a cracker or just something.
You and
Just
me
with some
both.
salt, right?
Did you eat lunch? I did not eat lunch.
Don't be fooled by the detective's disposition.
They always do that, right? The detectives are always so nice, and it's like, oh, God, do you need the toilet? Do you want a sandwich? Did you kill her? Did you kill her?
They're already certain that David has committed either first or second-degree murder, but they don't quite have enough evidence to place him under arrest, which is why they need a confession. David, at this moment, is still free to walk out of that police station, so the detectives will keep the tone sympathetic and non-confrontational for the time being to keep him on that chair. They'll afford him the false belief they are buying into his act as the grieving husband, but as soon as he gives them his initial version of events, the pressure will rapidly accelerate, in a manner that David is in no way anticipating.
I've always found this so interesting. It's like the cops are basically just as manipulative as the killer. It's always a long, drawn-out game of manipulation. Because they just want to get a confession. Like, they don't care whether you think you're innocent or not.
What would you like to eat? And I'll run down.
Just something simple. Just like saltines or peanut butter crackers. Or
Anything
something.
like that? Okay,
Yeah.
that's not a problem.
I would purposely make the most obnoxious order imaginable at one of those death row meals. Like, yeah, could you give me a Burger King XL and some fries and a Sprite and then a zero sugar Sprite? And then can you go to McDonald's and get the little salad they do, the 5 carrot sticks? And then can you go to White Castle and get me some sliders?
Right back.
Here's your water, buddy.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Not Burger King. Yeah, Burger King's pretty bad. I've ordered from Burger King before when I'm in Sweden, but I just usually get the Caesar salad because the burgers are pretty grim. I mean, the Caesar salads aren't too bad. But yeah, I just usually order Max, like Max Burger. It's like this Burger King competitor in Sweden. And you can order a burger where they remove the bun and they just replace it with salad. Like cabbage, lettuce, frilled.
I can take that one.
Yes.
Okay, is that good? Okay, all right. I'm with you. I haven't eaten since this morning. I'm sorry this is taking so long.
Hey, pin gas.
I believe. Okay, all right.
Seth Rogen.
Detective Teresa Sprague, and this is Detective Barb McClelland. First of all, on behalf of the Atlanta Police Department, we want to say how sorry we are
We're so sorry that we caught you.
for your loss.
So this is the first, out of a total 11, of David's fake cries. Their intensity level will peak about halfway through this video, during some of the more embarrassing performances you're ever likely to witness on the internet. But from that moment on, you'll notice these acts steadily diminish, as the detective makes it more and more abundantly obvious that she knows he's lying.
David, and also for everything that you're going through. I know this is very traumatic for you. Okay.
Okay. Can you stop crying now, please? Can we tone it in a little bit? Just roll it in. Doesn't even offer him like a napkin, by the way. It's like, isn't there tissues right here? Doesn't even offer him one. Like, I get it. Like, you know that he's done it, but like, at least try to hide it a bit better.
Start by collecting David's basic information.
Okay, blonde or...
Someone in chat said Silent Hill plot. Okay, can we not compare a real life murder to a fucking video game, please? Guys.
brown hair. Hello. Okay. Okay. Hazel eyes, maybe?
I'll take Hazel.
Blue? Hazel? Okay.
They're dirty blue. Yeah.
Quiet Mountain. Yeah, it's over. Benny.
Okay.
Eddie.
Is there a home phone?
There is.
Okay.
I can't remember the last 4 digits. It's 407. The next 3 are easy. 704, the opposite. And I never call it.
The next 3 are 704?
It's 407, 704, and then I think it's 2808. It might be 2406, but I have it in my phone. I haven't. We've had it since we were at Briarcliff.
And when did you move to Florida?
In 2013.
Okay.
About 5 months after I met Shanti.
Did you meet her here or there?
No, online.
You met online? Okay.
He had to admit to dating. I would have the exact same reaction.
Can you tell me what year that was?
It was 2013.
2013 is when you met online?
Yeah.
Okay. And about 5 months later, did you...
Yeah, the acting is actually comedic. Like it's so awful. It's genuinely so awful. It's like GCSE acting.
You move here and move...
Like as well, like not everyone cries when they're dealing with immense amounts of trauma either. They don't cry. Like I usually don't. I mean, some people, what some people do, which is pretty smart as well, they actually, they like I've noticed with myself, like when I cry and stuff, I'll always do it after, like it's delayed. I won't do it initially. Like I remember like when I was younger, like I was like 10 years old and my granddad died. Like I didn't cry at the funeral and I was like, oh my God, am I a psychopath? And then I remember like when we drove away in the car away from the funeral, then it set in and it was like, oh my God, he's actually dead. And then I like burst into tears and stuff. I mean, everyone deals with it differently, but yeah, you don't just like, you know, it's like he's playing it out where it's like a trigger word will then set him off and start crying. I swear they did like a Little Britain sketch of that at some point.
in with her or just move here?
I'll try to be as accurate as possible. I believe it's the end of September.
So you guys knew each other approximately 5 years this month.
Oh my god. This is a Little Britain sketch. This is, I'm not joking you, this is an actual Little Britain sketch. Like there's a woman that just keeps crying like over and over and over. Because, she's told, like her husband passed away and it's like, oh, do you want a tea? And it's like, oh, he used to drink tea. Oh.
I'd never been more in love. We were so happy.
Okay. If you don't, I know you've probably never been through anything like this in your life, okay? And I'm going to help you get through it. So if you have questions, you want to stop me, please do so, okay? But I do need you to understand your rights before we ask you about anything that happened in that home today, okay? All right. You have the right to remain silent. Do you understand that? I'm sorry?
Yes. Sorry. Yes.
Okay. Anything you say may be used against you in court. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Would you raise your right hand for me, please? Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you shall give in this case shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Absolutely.
Absolutely? Okay. All right. So I need you to we're going to continue down this path about how you all met.
He just starts crying again. It's like, she also walked down a path.
I know you met on Match.com, and about 5 months of, what would it be, telephone, text, and...
We just started every other weekend.
They hit it off, moved in together, then went looking for a house to buy in Florida.
We had an offer on a short sale and waited and waited and waited, and it fell through. And then we closed on the house on Copeland in...
Like, he's literally trying to get away with murder, and he moved onto a street called Copeland. Like that. It actually writes itself.
April of 2015.
So that you guys own the house free and clear. Is your name only on it, or was it both of yours?
When we bought the house, we weren't married, and so we put it in a trust, and we just completed the trust paperwork.
He put the house in his and his mother's names while leaving his wife out of it for, quote, planning and financial reasons. He asserts the decision was mutual, but whether Shanti actually knew about this or not is unclear.
And you've been...
You live in Copeland? Well, that's why you're watching this stream.
And so once you moved to Florida, you've been living together the whole time, just home to home. Just first with the folks, then Briarcliff, and then this residence.
Mm-hmm.
But you've been together the whole time. Have you ever broken up?
We had a couple fights, I think when we were living
Why does he think if he whispers, he sounds more emotional? Yeah, I don't know why he's doing that.
at Briarcliff.
Just sounds like every e-boy ever.
Okay.
We spent a few nights apart.
He says that he just spent a few nights with his mom, then drifts off into a statement about how Shanti was dedicated to work. The detective will now cut him off and steer the line of questioning back to the argument.
But she's
So
got strong
when you
business.
guys would argue, when you would go to your mom's, it was just because she was busy all the time, or what would the beef be?
Her work had a lot of stress involved,
Oh.
and she would sometimes. We always agreed, later that she was just overworked and tired.
Someone in chat just said, soft boy. Shut up, please.
And
So she'd get a little snippy or short or yell, scream, what?
just irritable.
Irritable.
Just irritability. And sometimes it just, that's not really, I don't really do that. It's not really, I'm just going to stand there. So I just, I would just say, why don't we take a break, or just let it, a little cool down period. And every time we did it, we came back. I think we only did it twice, but we were stronger.
Okay. And has that happened since you moved where you are now? Because now we've got the added stress of the renovation.
No, we love it. We love the...
This is Keith Orey, the producer of the house flipping show that David wanted to be on.
When you would be interacting with the Torontos related to your work on the house and also the show, who was your primary point of contact?
Oh, Dave was. He would communicate her desires. I would see her, but it was more like Dave's full-time job, almost, I guess I would say.
Did you ever know during your time that you knew Dave?
Closed arms means closed off, not open. Oh my god. Dude, you should be like a detective or something. Oh my god, are you serious? Closed arms means he's closed off, not being open, which means he could be lying? Dude, okay, I'm gonna be real with you. Make a Reddit account right now. Join the psychology subreddit. Like that, you will also speak to very other like-minded, intelligent intellects.
To have any other job?
I was aware that he had explained.
Closed arms also means stress. Yeah, it's, I don't know, like body language. I think there's some truth to body language, like mirroring. Like if you're talking to someone, you'll copy what they're doing. Like that is apparent. But I don't know. I think some of body language is a cope. It's like, you know, people that fold their arms, I've read that that's like a self-soothing thing. It's like people trying to make themselves feel better kind of thing.
To me that he'd worked for a chemical company up north somewhere.
I actually never knew what Dave did for a living. When my husband had asked him, he said he was into sales, but I don't really know what that means.
David never worked in sales or at a chemical company. You're now about to see Keith explain that he insisted on having a formal sit-down with Shanti to make sure that she was fully on board.
It was difficult to get them both together, but I explained ultimately that we couldn't go forward if I wasn't able to.
Crossed arms is also linked to a feeling of superiority. Yeah, it's like one action someone does can be enacted, can be interpreted as so many different things.
Sit down with them both.
Ultimately, you're able to get this sit down scheduled. Tell the jury about that meeting.
I arrived at the house to meet Dave and Shanti, and she was, by my estimation, unhappy to be there, and it was in a sort of a tense state. It was obvious that she was unhappy with something, and she was only there as long as she absolutely had to be, and then left.
This all occurred 6 days before Shanti was murdered.
We love what we're doing to the house. We love the vision that we had for the house.
It's context sensitive. If I interpret it a certain way, I'm now very smart and perceptive.
I mean, oh, she wanted divorce, but she wanted so bad. It made me happy. It made her happy. It was a thing that we did together. She wanted to quit her job. When we got the house done, or just kind of, slowly phased out of it. She thought, a couple of times that she would really need to take a break, and definitely slow down, and definitely not add a whole lot more work. But she could do more if she wanted to. I'm sorry, I can't talk about it any faster.
And that's very.
I need that image saved on my desktop of the Oscar. I need to put it on screen right now. Where is that? Where is that? I need to get that Oscar PNG. Like he needs one right now, man. We gotta give him one. We actually gotta give him one. Is this gonna do the thing where it saves it as a WebP? Okay, no, it's not. Wait a minute. How do I do this? How do I add, dude, I want to add an image. But I want to make sure I know what I'm fucking adding here. Okay, there it is. Oh, there's a watermark on it. Great. Okay. All right. All right, we'll give him one Oscar for now. Any time that he gives a stronger performance, we give him another Oscar, okay?
That's very normal. Because you're not going to process this for a really long time.
You have a lot of audience watching you. Yeah, they all left.
So I know it feels like a really bad day.
Now notice how quickly he manages to pull himself out of the depths of despair and into casually talking about his house flipping show.
Keith also just, our lives are busy. I'm so sorry I quit.
Oh, that was good. That was good. Okay, that's not Oscar worthy, but that's a nomination.
Yeah, I know you're asking simple questions, but Keith does a TV show, a home improvement.
Keith, the guy you mentioned, Ori? Okay.
It's called Zombie House Flipping.
Keith asked them to be on the show.
Which meant that we would get a lot of what they call trade outs, and promotional sponsorship to do
Any financial incentive to do that?
big. That's what they call trade. I'm sorry, that's what they call trade outs. So their sponsors.
One watermark for all the actual tears that he shed. Yeah, that's accurate.
That's one of the things I was working on yesterday. Was putting together a list of the sponsorships, the windows, doors, cabinets. I mean, and so maybe instead of getting granite, you get quartz, or maybe instead of getting, you know, middle range cabinets, you get high end stuff.
His wife's dead. His wife's dead, and he's talking about like Minecraft granite slate tabletop. That's another Oscar. That's another Oscar. Actually, so unflinching in his performance. Thank you, Derinax, for joining. Thank you, Kasu, for the month as well.
And we're also working on kind of just an amazing open concept stairway in the middle of the house that was going to go all the way up to the loft.
And so they'd come in and start filming?
Mm-hmm.
Would they film you all or just the work?
No. Yeah, it's just the house. They're the stars.
A real actor knows when to lock in and out. Yeah, he's method acting. He's method acting.
Pay no attention to David's no. He fully understood that he would be featured prominently on the show as the main builder construction guy. The so-called stars he's talking about are the hosts. The detective will now establish a timeline.
So when you're
streaming any on Twitch? No, I'm streaming on YouTube and Twitch.
When she comes home Sunday, it's you, Jackson, and Shanti, and you just stay at home and have is it a pool get together?
We only have them every other Sunday. It's our family day, and we do like to have an early meal, watch a movie.
So, do you recall Sunday night about what time everybody goes to sleep since you're all...
My wife dies, but do you want to hear about my Minecraft house renovation show?
We're bed early on school nights, so 8:30 we're winding down. 9 o'clock lights are low.
Shanti's son gets picked up the next day at around 5 p.m.
5 p.m.-ish, okay. All right, and then do you guys go anywhere, do anything, or you stay at home?
We made dinner together that night. And,
so that would have been Monday night. Did you watch TV?
I did.
Any idea what?
American Idol.
Okay, so...
You watched American Idol? Okay, that's... Yeah, we're taking an Oscar away for that one. Yep.
So you wake up Tuesday morning and you're in the garage on the couch?
Mm-hmm. I usually wait for her to come down. She came down after 7 o'clock, probably almost 7:30.
Shanti went back upstairs and David started doing chores around the house. He's now about to mention the last time he supposedly saw Shanti alive, and then break into another fake hysteric. Yet this time, he will get no reassuring feedback from the detective, and the charade will rapidly dissipate.
Yeah, just normal routine. When she came down again.
Oh, another tear. We bring the Oscar back. He's earned it back. He's earned it back.
She came down again, and what happened?
This could be a third Oscar. This could actually be a third Oscar. Okay, that I do love the red circle they did in post. It's like, look at him, he's soy facing.
And what happened?
And I've thought about it. I've tried to think exactly what time it is, but I don't know exactly. I would say probably 9:15. And the reason I know that is she
said she was going to the dentist, and he said he was going for a walk. He now attempts another fake cry, but gets ignored again.
And
did you take the dogs for a walk?
I went for a walk.
By yourself?
By myself.
This could be a fourth Oscar. This could be a fourth Oscar. Okay. He's getting 4 Oscars. He could be. How many Oscars does Daniel Day-Lewis have? Hang on. How many Oscars does Daniel Day-Lewis have? He already has more. It's 3 Oscars. He has more Oscars already than Daniel Day-Lewis in the span of an hour-long interview. That's crazy. That's crazy.
Where'd you go?
I went around Lake Lucerne and went to Orange.
He comes back home and feeds the dogs.
That's all that I can remember until I went upstairs to see when we were going to pick up Jackson.
Okay, and what happens when you enter the home? Is anything unusual? When you enter the garage apartment?
So, I could hear the water is running, but it's not running. It's not like the sound of a shower running. It's just,
Hey, Pyro.
Trickling out of the spout.
Okay, and so you walk toward the water that you're hearing?
Yeah, walking to the bathroom.
Okay.
Just in case you didn't catch
Hell was that noise?
the passive-aggressive nature of that response, here it is again without subtitles.
And so you walk toward the water that you're hearing?
Yeah, walking to the bathroom.
Okay.
Just look at David's face. Poor David really doesn't want to be getting grilled like this anymore. Keep in mind it's almost 11 p.m. He likely didn't get a whole lot of sleep the night before, and
They also did keep him waiting for 4 hours to purposely tire him out.
he's been acting his ass off all throughout the day. He'll at this point be exhausted and want nothing more than to get out of that police station. But he doesn't want to challenge the detective directly and risk losing her approval. Hence he throws out a weak little display of passive aggression to see if she'll pick up on the hint, but it of course gets ignored. She will simply continue pressing with an unsympathetic
No, that wasn't the PC. There was like a car outside.
tone, which will cause David to revert back to appeasement. He will then begin recounting the horrific circumstances under which he supposedly found Shanti. And as this unfolds, you will see a glaring disparity in David's emotional presentation.
The doors open, and what happens? What do you see?
I see her laying with her head in the right-hand corner.
4 hour exhausted yet still peak performance. I'd say 5th Oscar. No, you could be onto something there. You could actually be onto something there. He might be getting a yeah. Okay, we'll give him a 5th Oscar. What actor has the most amount of Oscars? Three wins each. No actor has more than 3 Oscars. Damn. And this guy's got 5. Get him in Hollywood right now.
And it's just extremely awful, and it doesn't look natural. Obviously, she fell, or
Thank you, Private Seal, for the Prime.
something happened.
But you did shut off the water.
I did shut off the water and it drained, which tells me I could hear it draining when I pulled her out. I could hear. So that okay. So I guess this is
Drain gang.
all weird, right? Because she's in there, the water's on, and it's draining. It doesn't make any. It just doesn't make any sense.
And it's not on all the way. It's on how
Like lukewarm, so just past half.
And she's face down. So the first thing you do is what, if you recall?
I reached out and grabbed her. I reached out and touched her right arm. The water is rose-colored, so there's blood in the water itself.
Mm-hmm.
I can see a spot of blood.
And you pull her by her arms?
So I grabbed someplace on her arm, tried to get kind of under it a little bit.
You said she seemed stiff?
Yeah. Hard to move.
Sorry, I had to run off one of the chairs. We're trying to escape.
There's something so incredibly unnerving in the sound of the casual crunching of his snack as he recounts in precise detail the limp and lifeless body of his wife, so we'll spare you the rest of it.
I had to pull her and turn her a couple of times. Then she felt cold.
Eating while explaining how your wife died? That's a 6th Oscar.
That's how she felt. She felt cold.
She felt cold.
I grabbed the,
You grabbed the what?
We had, when we did the bedding, we took the mattress cover off.
God forbid he's eating while being interrogated. I mean, usually you'd have too much anxiety to even eat.
Watch it.
The detective asks David to draw a map for the purpose of illustrating the timeline of his movements. She will now shift the line of questioning and begin to gradually intensify the pressure.
When was the last time the two of you argued?
Very briefly on Saturday, right before we left.
He might be method acting. He put on the glasses and now he's taken on like a completely different persona.
Argument was over the renovation. David likely admitted to this because Shanti's son was there for it.
The upstairs floor was very wavy, and the point of contention probably was to...
What is this? He's speaking like a physicist now. What is this? It's actually like he's taken on a completely different persona.
We tear all...
He's not Gordon Freeman. Shut up.
All of that out and put it...
It could... Yeah, it's 7th Oscar worthy, I think. That's 7th Oscar. That's crazy. The fact that he was able to take on a brand new persona by just wearing glasses like that is some insane method acting.
In new structure and trusses, so we have a perfectly flat floor and then a perfectly flat ceiling. But I don't think it's an argument if Shanti and I are both on the same page and we're both just in agreement and upset reasonably and justifiably upset that it's taking longer. Shanti and I aren't fighting about it. Mm-hmm. We're both upset about the same thing.
Does she feel as though you don't listen to her?
No, I don't think so. She knows I listen.
Has any fight ever turned physical between the two of you?
No.
Okay. Has she ever hurt you, hit you, struck you, threw anything at you?
No.
No. Have you ever harmed her physically?
No.
David continues to pretend
If I had a cap right now, I'd be putting it on.
that he doesn't notice the accusatory nature of the questioning, so the detective will now intensify the pressure to a significant degree.
She seems to shed.
Her injuries to me, David, seem really significant.
This is like the point where he must think in his head, okay, she's going to accuse me.
More significant than from a
Like she's basically soft accusing him now.
soft tissue fall. More significant than from me tripping and falling and hitting my head and being knocked unconscious.
She elaborates on the inconsistencies while David just sits there and nods.
Atomic Heart released the twins cutscene. No, I know, it sucked. Wasn't worth it.
The issue I'm having with it is I absolutely think that she was deceased before you left to go to the park.
She repeats what...
Look how much she's nodding. He's like a bobblehead.
Park.
No, there's full out 3 bobbleheads. It's like she could have died. There was, he reminds me of this video. There was like an Australian politician that's just nodding. Hang on. Oh, it was Tony Abbott. It was Tony Abbott. That's right. It was Tony Abbott. So you're not saying anything, Tony. Yeah, this is basically what he's doing here. Look, 11 years ago, damn.
The soldiers shouldn't. I shouldn't. Yeah. But I'm not turning into media circus. I'm showing you vision of your reaction to his explanation about what happened on the day in the operation that, in which McKinney was killed. How's that turning into a media circus? Okay, well, tell me, what's the context? And if it's out of context, what is the context? You're not saying anything, Tony.
I've given you the response you deserve.
Cope. I like how he was nodding the entire time. If he was in silence, he could have played it off, but the fact that he was nodding, he actually got stun locked. Thank you, Rainbow Rain, for the 2 months. Appreciate it. Not glazed maybe a little. You're actually one of the most entertaining content creators in 25. Watching Pyrocynical in the big 25. Embarrassing. But thank you for the prime, man. I appreciate it. Or the resub.
She repeats what she said a few more times, while David just keeps doing what he's doing.
Tony Abbott was animation cancelling.
Okay, so I think that you've told us a significant amount of information. You've been very cooperative. But I also think that you've left some stuff out.
Thank you, Grand Buros, for the prime.
And I think you've left some stuff out that is maybe something got out of hand, maybe you didn't mean for it to happen, maybe you got upset, but there's something that happened between the two of you before you left that house. She was deceased, or on her way to being deceased, before you left that house. Now, if
Do you think living in Copeland had an effect? Oh, absolutely.
there's an explanation, I want to hear it.
I told you everything.
Yeah, but you've left out something, David, because this woman has significant injuries. Okay, this is not...
Who in the chat said Gordon jailed man? What? What is that? You do not speak ill of Gordon Freeman's name in this chat. Thank you, Darrenax, the Prime.
Not from a fall. Did you harm Shanti in any way?
Absolutely not.
Did you choke her?
Absolutely not.
Did you strangle her?
Without
Thank you, Sleepwalker, for the resub. Appreciate it.
a question, no.
Did you beat her?
No.
Did you hit her with anything?
Absolutely not.
Okay. Do you have injuries?
I do not. I do have some scratches from the bromeliads and from the bougainvillea.
Okay.
He's got scratches from what?
I do have some scratches from the bromeliads.
Hey Byro, when are you going?
Bougainvillea.
Okay.
I do trim them myself.
Aside from the scratches from his plants, David had no injuries that could indicate a struggle. But this might explain why.
You noticed a single earring on the nightstand?
A single what?
A single diamond earring on the nightstand.
Yes.
Yeah, what was the significance of that?
Looks like she removed it before bed and
Also, why does it look like they're having a prayer session there when they're checking for, like, injuries?
didn't get a chance to remove the other one.
Because you believe that's when the attack occurred.
On the edge of the bed, where the blood was found on the side rail, yes. And I think when she turned to take that earring out, she didn't see it coming.
Would you mind, just for me to be able to say David is a perfect gentleman and is in the clear and did not harm his wife, would you mind taking a polygraph and proving that to us?
Absolutely.
Okay. Would that be possible?
Ooh. Polygraphs are a bad one, man. They can't... Okay, correct me if I'm wrong. You cannot convict on a polygraph. You can't. You cannot use it as evidence. You can't. It's too BS. But what they do with the polygraph is they just lie and they say, oh, you failed. And then they use that against them to scare them into confessing. I've seen that happen loads. But I swear a polygraph, you cannot use a polygraph, like at least alone, to get a conviction. Because they're so easy to spoof. Thank you, Ape Monkey, for the 5. When is Darkwood going to be released? I don't know. I stopped working on it.
Ability. Yeah.
He said absolutely, parentheses, I'm cooked.
Okay. All right.
The detective asks David if he wants another water, to which he says, sure. So she brings him a water and tells him they'll be right back with a polygraph machine. But instead of coming right back, they leave him in there for just over 2 hours. During which time they decide not to proceed with the polygraph, but simply ramp up the confrontation.
He literally hit the cooked pose. I like how he's wearing the blanket on him again. It's like he's using it for like protection or something.
You doing okay?
Yeah, it's just...
Did you sleep a little?
I did.
I know you've got to be exhausted. Or at least mentally. Yeah.
I just want to point out some things to you
Just wrapped up like a little baby now.
that I think are unusual. There's so many, I really don't know where to begin, to be perfectly honest with you. I think that I find that the...
Drinking water, that's another Oscar. He's an actor that's staying hydrated. I have nothing but respect for that. It's another Oscar.
living arrangement, I find to be completely unusual for you to be primarily living downstairs.
I'm not primarily living downstairs.
Well, sleeping.
What I said is that I sleep down there, but I don't go down there till we're done with dinner, we're done watching TV, or we're done for the evening.
Okay, just hear me out.
Okay.
So you don't go upstairs during the day while she's working. You leave her alone, and then
not entirely. I do go up there.
Okay.
But I don't work up there while she's on the phone because it's distracting. It's her office.
Drinking water equals guilty. I need to talk to my legal team about that.
I think that I've explained extremely well. She didn't sleep. She did, but you said...
He continues defending the fact that he was exiled to the garage.
I think it's an adjustment and a transition that she didn't feel like she could make right now because she couldn't afford the time that it would take.
But she's sleeping in the only part of the residence that's semi-comfortable. You're sleeping in the garage with the dogs.
How do you explain this woman's head being swollen, her eyes being black?
And would never, ever hurt her.
So when you pulled her out of the tub, you agreed
Why is he just talking like the Riddler now? I would never hurt her, ever.
with me that the water came out of the tub. There's not a spot of water on the floor, David. The carpet isn't wet. The carpet isn't wet from where she was pulled out of the bathtub, sopping wet, all the way around to the front of the couch. The carpet's not wet. There's no
Darkwood Sono Cruelty Squad daughter. Neither.
blood on the carpet.
What about Fat Cry Uncle?
Notice how little David moves compared to the detective. It doesn't correlate with anything in particular. It's just sort of interesting to watch.
My guess is she wasn't treating you very well.
Oh, they're doing it. They're doing the thing where they try to get in his head, and it's like, it wasn't that bad if you killed her.
There's only...
Why is he doing the I Show Speed face? Look at that face he's doing. That is literally the I Show Speed face when he looks down and smiles. That is actually spot on. What?
So much anymore.
That's another Oscar. That's another Oscar. Absolutely. Well, we're building these up now, Jesus.
Before they snap.
Appreciate the very kind things that you've said.
I'm missing what you're saying because of your suit that you're moving, but I'm kind of missing it.
Best actor of all. I mean, he's reaching the point where he might actually have more combined Oscars than every actor in Hollywood.
It's really loud, but I missed what you said because you're talking so loud.
I'm sorry, it's falling out. I appreciate the things that you've said and the genuine consideration and thoughtfulness behind it.
David, you killed this woman.
I cooperated so I could give you all the information and all.
You cooperated because you thought that your language would overwhelm us, and you thought you could pull the wool over our eyes.
I didn't think there was any effort to do that.
All of this, all these tangents.
He just wants to go to sleep, guys. Come on, leave him alone.
All this flowery, fancy language.
Answers to questions
all the details.
that you asked.
I cooperated, so let me go, pretty please.
Good questions.
The worst thing is he could have left anytime he wanted to. Like, if he was I mean, he is guilty. Like, they prefaced the video saying that. But if he was smart and guilty, he would have been like, nah, I'm good. I'm getting a lawyer. Because I know you guys are just going to put me in a funny little box.
You know, you fake cried for about 7 or 8 hours today. Not one tear came out of your eyes. Not one. Not one. Not on scene with the officers. Not in this room. You have fake cried over this woman's death since we made contact with you. For hours. And every single time you fake cried, we wrote it down. Not one tear came out of your eyes. Not one. Nope. Okay? We've been extremely patient with you for a very long time.
Yeah, he knows it's over. He knows it's over.
I'm losing my patience at this point.
Yeah, he just wailed. That was it.
Because there is not a lick of remorse.
Deduct an Oscar? I don't... Okay. We'll remove one Oscar for that. We'll have to deduct one. You know, there were no real tears. It wasn't proper method acting. I'm very disappointed.
For what you did to this woman. Not even a little bit. You're staring at a woman you're telling us you're in love with, and you've done nothing the whole time. But close your eyes, huddle up, and protect your own ass. So we're just going to prove you're full of shit and solve this case.
I'm surprised they're being so brutal with him. Holy.
And I'm glad you think that's funny.
Oh my god, he's gonna do the light Yagami laugh in a second.
I'm glad you think that's funny.
The investigators would exit the room shortly after this moment, at 4:56 a.m. David would then sit there for a little over 2 hours before finally asking to go home. But before being driven back by
little cuck, she whispered into his ear, okay,
one of the officers, they asked him if they could take his photograph. He cheerfully obliged. Judging by his expression, he may have thought he had just...
Dude, I thought that was Vitali. Oh my god, I thought that was Vitali. You know, he's been like arrested now as well. I actually thought that was Vitali. No. Oh.
Gotten away with murder, but a grand jury indicted him 4 months later, and he was arrested at his mother's house. When he was told he was facing life imprisonment and that the evidence against him was overwhelming, he started acting crazy and went for the insanity defense. He was then sent to a maximum security psych unit, where he spent 5 years before a judge ruled him competent to stand trial.
Wait, is that not even added onto the sentence? So he got 5 years just in a waiting room in a padded cell.
This is what he looked like on the day he was transferred back to jail. His trial began on October 12th and lasted 6 days.
He actually became Joseph Seed.
He maintained his plea of not guilty, with his official defense being that he was out of the house walking the dog.
Dude, he's about to start a cult.
While an unknown intruder broke in and murdered Shanti.
You heard about the sleeping arrangement. You heard how the defendant was sleeping in the garage with the dogs, while Shanti was staying in the essential, one-bedroom apartment, separate and apart from him. And this had been going on, for over a year. This was an intentional killing.
What if he said, when he got convicted, "Release me! Release me!"
A random stranger that comes into a house isn't going to, take the time that it takes to strangle a person, to move them to a tub. Not take anything? Doesn't make any sense. Leave no sign behind, no fingerprints, no DNA? That doesn't make any sense. You have the severe beating of Shanti. You have the injuries to both sides of her face. You have the fractured skull, the swollen shut eye, the damaged eye on the other side. You saw the, intense bruising and bleeding in both sides of her mouth. This was a beating. So at some point in that beating...
Wait, who is Fuckboy8 on Twitch? That is not Shay, is it? Please don't tell me that's your actual Twitch name.
The defendant, and you can infer this from the facts, intended to cause the death. He did it with a premeditated design. We ask that you convict him of first-degree murder. Thank you.
He's actually doing light work, no reaction. Okay. Okay, bro, listen. When your defense has a fucking bow tie on, and he looks like the kid that Homer Simpson shouts, "Nerd!" at, I think you're cooked. I think you're cooked.
The defense mainly tries to evoke empathy for the defendant, but it ends up just roasting the fake crazy out of him.
Shanti's the only source of the income. She's the breadwinner. He does nothing other than take care of the pool and the dogs.
Wait, is this guy meant to be defending him? Wait.
About circumstantial evidence, pure supposition, all steered by Teresa Sprague, who prejudged this case based upon a phone call received from her from an officer at the scene about these crocodile tears. This is just a hunch, ladies and gentlemen. A hunch.
So, no one here cares, by the way. This guy is just thinking about, what he's going to make for dinner when he goes home. This guy here, if I move the camera, this guy here, he's got his AirPods in. Just doesn't even care. He's probably playing Flappy Bird or something.
If you hear horses, if you hear hooves, think horses, not zebras, sort of thing. Because that's the point. You don't...
Please tell me this guy was pro bono. Please. Please don't tell me you paid for this guy, genuinely.
Get to fit a square peg in a round hole because it's convenient. And that's what happened.
The Friends gif.
With the rush to judgment, with the confirmation of...
Okay, any bad point he makes, I'm just going to take an Oscar away, okay? We're actually going to go to negative Oscars now, okay?
The fake crazy out of him.
Shanti's the only source of the income. She's the breadwinner. He does nothing other than take care of the pool and the dogs. It's about circumstantial evidence, pure supposition, all steered by Teresa Sprague, who prejudged this case based upon a phone call received from her from an officer at the scene about these crocodile tears. This is just a hunch, ladies and gentlemen. A hunch. If you hear horses, if you hear hooves, think horses, not zebras, sort of thing. Because that's the point. You don't get to fit a square peg in a round hole because it's convenient. And that's what happened here. With the rush to judgment, with the confirmational bias, those two detectives went into a room with David Tronis and worked him over. He sat there for 16 hours, bared his soul to them, literally.
What is he saying? He might just be on Fent. Like, I genuinely not a single idea what he's saying. Thank you, Pokey Panda, for the 29 months. Appreciate it.
And
Human embodiment of the nerd emoji.
figuratively, told them what he knew, told them what he saw. The government.
Look, man, you've got one Oscar left. Please don't fuck it. Please don't fuck it. We got one Oscar left we can walk away with on this.
It's the one spinning here. The government's the one taking the insignificant and stacking them into a pyramid, and I'm confident
he's blaming the government. He's blaming the government. Like, he is going on some rant about like the military-industrial complex. Like, oh my god.
You'll come back and return the only just verdict in this case, and that's a verdict of not guilty. Thank you.
I did not understand a single thing that he said there. Wow. I assume they talked in private, and it's like, I don't want to go to jail. I don't want jail. And then his lawyer's like, okay, bro, I got you. I just says that absolute word soup nonsense. Thank you, Hatless, for the 22 months.
Verdict reads, we, the jury, find the defendant guilty of first-degree murder
Big shock.
as charged in the indictment.
Big shock. Very shocked.
Y'all, dated at Orlando County, Orange County, Florida, on the 18th
Very, very shocked to hear that. Very shocked. I, for one, am incredibly surprised there.
day of October 2023, signed by the foreperson.
In the midst of this tragedy, Shanti's impact as a mother was shown through her son, Jackson. His victim impact statement was both heartrending and dignified.
My family and I have been waiting for about 5 years for justice. I miss her so much. I would have never thought the day before was the last time I would see my mother alive. I miss the times where we would go to Universal, or just the simple times, like walking the dogs or going to the park. She was the best mom I could ever ask for.
When they do this, it really sets in how evil these people are, though. Like, I get it. We all do the React Andy. We make fun of the guy, like, lying in the interrogation room. But then when you see the actual victims, yeah, it's just sad.
That's it.
Defense, any questions?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you, Jackson.
Damn.
Mr. Tronis, anything you wish to say prior to sentencing?
He was about to hit the release me. He was about to hit it.
You just said no, is that right? Then in this case, the court will adjudicate you guilty. Will sentence you to life imprisonment. Luck to you, sir. And the court will...
Why would you say good luck to someone who's been convicted of murder? What?
be in recess.
This is his latest mugshot. He is currently being housed at the Graceville Correctional Facility.
How does he keep changing disguises, like, genuinely? He's gone through, like, 3 different shifts.
Facility in maximum security, where he is expected to remain.
Damn. Yeah, it's all fun and games until you see the actual victims involved. Then it is just like... Yeah, then it's just actually really, really sad.